Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell and like this video. That helps me to keep making videos, and I would appreciate it majorly. So, the passport. Jeffrey Epstein. This is more just updates on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Tomorrow's a big day. You know, I don't even know if we're going to get a decision tomorrow. He said probably. I suspect that he will make a decision tomorrow. I have no idea what kind of decision he's going to make. However, you know, I mean, I think the prosecution has is definitely put forth a fair amount of reasons why he should not be given bail. I'm not a legal expert, but so about the passport, I said yesterday or last night that his attorneys, the defense attorneys, Epstein's attorneys, had said that it's a legitimate passport, you know, an official passport that was issued by Austria back in the 80s, like it was expired 32 years ago. And but it didn't have his name on it. It had his picture, and that it had a home address of Saudi Arabia. The reason they gave for that was that he had it for protection purposes. So basically, if like a plane was ever hijacked or he was ever, you know, he could have been kidnapped by a terrorist, and which was happening with, I guess, some frequency during the 80s. I don't know when, when Munich's happened and all this started from kind of there. But so that was his reason for that was the explanation the defense attorneys gave. And, you know, that if ever in a situation like that, he would give that to the terrorists, so they would read a name that doesn't look like a Jewish name, has residence in Saudi Arabia, and he's a wealthy Jewish person, etc. You get the idea. But in this, in this Fox article, excuse me, damn, his attorneys say that he never used it, you know, and so I don't know that it actually was an official passport, and we still don't know that, and so I was wrong. I don't think his attorneys were saying it was an official passport. In fact, I think they were just saying it was for protection, but they were saying he never actually used it in an official capacity. You know, I don't think he ever used it for protection purposes either. I don't think he ever faced a situation where he could have potentially been kidnapped and needed to use it, but they're saying he never did. His attorneys were saying that he never did use it, and that the prosecution hasn't proven or illustrated that he's used it. So, and that was, the passport was for protection, for personal protection in the event of travel to dangerous areas, only to be presented to potential kidnappers, hijackers, or terrorists should violent episodes occur. In a letter sent to Judge Berman on Tuesday, Manhattan U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman, no relation, wrote that the government is trying to find out how Epstein obtained the foreign passport and whether it is genuine or fabricated. We still don't know. The defendant's possession of what purports to be a foreign passport issued under an alias gives rise to the inference the defendant knows how to obtain false travel documents and or assume other foreign identities, he wrote. That's Jeffrey Berman, the prosecutor. But I know it says in here somewhere that he never used it. The government offers nothing to suggest, and certainly no evidence, that Epstein ever used it, they wrote in the filing addressed to U.S. District Judge Richard Berman. In any case, Epstein, an affluent member of the Jewish faith, acquired the passport in the 1980s when hijackings were prevalent in connection to Middle East travel. So they were saying, you know, that he never used it, and that the prosecutors have provided no evidence. Well, they did today, basically. It took way too long to explain that, but that's life. And they did, you know. So even though they're not in court, they're submitting all these court documents, as I understand it. I mean, that's what's being reported here. So Jeffrey Epstein used a foreign passport, with a fake name, to enter several countries, Several countries in the 1980s, including the United Kingdom, Spain, and Saudi Arabia, federal prosecutors said Wednesday. The questionable travel document was found inside a safe along with $70,000 in cash and 48 loose diamonds in the New York City home of the wealthy financier and accused sex trafficker. It contained a photo of Epstein with a different name, and listed his place of residence as Saudi Arabia, according to prosecutors. Epstein's lawyers filed court papers Tuesday claiming he obtained the Austrian passport in 1982 for personal protection to be presented to potential kidnappers, hijackers, or terrorists. The lawyers said Epstein's Jewish faith and substantial wealth made him a target while traveling in the Middle East. Epstein's attorneys also said that the government provided no evidence that he ever used the passport. I don't know. I got paused there because of the passport in 1982. He obtained the Austrian passport in 1982. I thought it expired then, but I can't remember. It expired 32 years ago. Excuse me, 82, 32. All right. But Wednesday the prosecutors did just that, provide evidence that he used it, and which to me doesn't sound like that sophisticated of evidence. It just sounds like the passport. I mean, a passport. I'm not like Mr. Travel. I've had a passport. I've been to Ireland. That's the only place I've ever been outside the country other than Canada. But, they stamp it when you travel, and I think that's all. But, I don't know why the defense attorneys, I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding, because that's what it sounds like, the proof they're providing, and it's just in the passport itself, I would think. But it says, in fact, the passport contains numerous ingress and egress stamps, including stamps that reflect the use of the passport to enter France, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia in the 1980s, the court papers say. It's perplexing, it really is. Prosecutors added that Epstein's lawyers have yet to explain some of the basic questions concerning the passport, including how he obtained it and whether he's a citizen of another country. Epstein's lawyers did not immediately return a request for comment. The travel document has become a key component of the government's argument for keeping Epstein locked up on charges alleging he sexually abused dozens of underage girls in New York and Florida between 2002 and 2005. We'll see tomorrow. The prosecutors say it demonstrates Epstein's ability to obtain false documents and underscores his serious risk of flight. They also point to his extraordinary wealth, access to private planes, and limited family ties. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow whether or not I don't know. It's troublesome. The fact that his prosecutors don't seem that worried. Like they're just almost they're being obtuse. I don't know if that's the right word. In terms of the how they deal with the prosecutors when they ask a question. Like they're saying that they have no proof he ever used it, but they have the passport in their possession, and right in the passport it has stamps in it saying he used it. It's almost like the defense attorneys are being smartasses and seemingly quite confident of something. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading that correctly. We'll see tomorrow. It's a huge day. I continue to maintain many things. One of which is that this whole thing of what Trump tweeted and started this gigantic storm is all about this, and it was all to suck up the media attention away from this, definitely. And I read this article over here. I'm already way too long on this video, so I'm not going to go through it. But it's interesting, and it says, because there's other documents that are coming out. I'll read a bit. I'll go over just a little bit of it. Irregardless of this case in the Southern District of New York, because of the civil suits against him, in Florida, and I don't follow them extensively, it seems as though a lot of documents are coming out in the next few days, or likely within days, it says here. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit will release almost 2,000 pages of documents that could reveal sexual abuse by numerous prominent American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, well-known prime ministers, and other world leaders. This article goes on about, pretty much the whole story, in terms of how Jeffrey Epstein managed to become very wealthy, and it revisits the idea that many people on Wall Street believe, based on, who are true money managers and true investment professionals at the highest level, feel like he got his wealth other ways, and it seems like blackmail was the number one theory on how he managed to get so wealthy. It just would take too long to read through it. It's the same stuff again, but with a from a different source. And then it talks about basically many names could come out in the coming days, irregardless of the Southern District of New York. And then it goes on. It goes on to the feud between Alan Dershowitz and this attorney, David Boies, who is representing one of the victims, Guffrey, I think is her name, and the back and forth between them two. And I will say, because I've seen Alan Dershowitz, I've just gotten caught up on how he relates to this. Besides the fact that he defended him, he was one of the defense attorneys along with Kenneth Starr and I think another guy named Lefkowitz. In the plea deal, in the sweetheart plea deal from 2007-2008 that was approved by Acosta, Trump's labor secretary. But they were also friends before that, him and Epstein and Dershowitz. And I will say that I don't know, Dershowitz's explanation of things doesn't exactly, and I saw some of it when he was, he was on Laura Ingram's show. Didn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of, like, one of the things he says, and he seemed to repeat it, was that Boies, Guffrey's attorney, one of Epstein's alleged victims, who was a towel girl at Mar-a-Lago. I think she was 16 at the time when she was first introduced to Epstein. Dershowitz says that Boies admitted that his client was lying to him over the phone and that he's got it on tape. And Boise says that basically it's just a tiny little portion that he's playing, and he's not playing the before and after. My basic thing is, why in God's name would the attorney who's representing the client admit this to one of, she's accusing him of things, Alan Dershowitz. So why would her attorney admit to Alan Dershowitz that she's lying to him? That makes no sense whatsoever. So, and this guy's no joke. I mean, Alan Dershowitz is no joke, but this guy's no joke either. I mean, this guy's a huge, high-profile attorney that's been involved in many big cases. I just recognize him by looking at him. When I saw him on TV the other day, I was like, wow, he's representing the victims. Whatever. All right. Spent way too much time on that. Last thing. So there just has to be a reason why Trump did that. Why Trump named 3 out of the 6 attorneys that were part of the sweetheart deal for Jeffrey Epstein back in 2007, to his administration. One of them turned it down, and one of them didn't end up becoming the head of the FBI, who was going to replace Comey, who he fired specifically for the Russia investigation, which I believe was a big hoax perpetrated by him, because to take all the attention away from what really might have been going on, something else, some kind of massive blackmail scheme, maybe blackmailing, the other presidential candidate into forfeiting and losing on purpose. That's my theory. Everybody knows that, and but it doesn't matter even if my theory's not perfect. Why in God's name would he name these people, 3 out of 6 that were part of this into his? That you're telling me that's just a coincidence? There's no way. There's just no way. Any reasonable person wouldn't think that that's just a random thing. No way. And that's the story there, man. That is the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.